Hi, Malin. Welcome to my Mind Spark podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I'm fine and so happy to be here.
Of course. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule. I know it's so crazy busy and to run to be an entrepreneur and to run such a big business. But thank you so much. I appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not always you can plan so well. So
Yeah.
that's why I was a bit late today. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. No problem.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I just want to get started with a little bit of your background, and if you can introduce yourself about your education. How was it to grow in Norway, and have you been to Sweden? A little bit about your childhood and your education background.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Sweden, and
Oh. Mm-hmm.
have my family there actually. Yeah, and at an early age, I knew that I did not want to work a traditional work life, nine to
Okay.
five job, but I didn't really know what I wanted. I have always been interested in health
Mm-hmm.
and nutrition, so I wanted in that kind of move in that direction. So I educated myself, or the education I took was a doctor of naprapathy. It's almost a chiropractor for the ones outside
Mm-hmm.
Scandinavia. And through my education, I met my Norwegian husband. So I
Okay.
moved to to Norway. Is it like 13 years ago, I think?
Oh
And so we are
wow.
established outside Oslo with, now house, two kids and a dog. And It was really when I got my first child, now soon 12 years ago, that I really found my passion in my
Mm-hmm.
working life. I kind of experience, as many parents do when they get their first child, that you kind of see the world in a different way, and you
Yeah.
focus on other things. And I really saw a lack of both kind of knowledge when it comes to food for children, but I was also feeling a bit uncertain myself. So because I
Mm-hmm.
have always been interested in nutrition for myself and things like that, I was a bit shocked actually to both see how insecure I was, and also parents around me when it came to um, that part of
Mm-hmm.
parenting. And you get so much, advice from everyone
Oh
wants
yeah.
to help, of course, but you kind of get so much different advice, and then you have the authority saying one thing, and you have your friends saying something, and Google is telling you way too much different things.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, how hard can it be? Seriously. I mean, small kids are also humans, and
Mm.
we know what humans should eat to kind of feel good and be
Yeah.
healthy. And that is primarily food made out of, the earth, nature,
Mm. Yeah.
and kind of get back to basic a bit. So I wrote a book. I have never been really good at writing. That has never been my expertise at all. But I
Okay.
felt like this is kind of knowledge that needs to get out to support parents and
Mm-hmm.
educate parents, and kind of take with just a basic knowledge of nutrition, you can take quite conscious and good choices for yourself
Mm.
and your child. So that was a hobby
Yeah.
project, really. And after a while, I asked my father-in-law, that is a doctor and he has written a few books before, and I was like, is this something that I should even continue with? Like, is it good enough? And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, it's super exciting. Can I join?
Wow.
So we ended up by writing a book together, and that got published
Wow.
in 2016 in Norway, and that was kind of my first
Okay.
attempt to move in that direction, so to say.
What is the name of the book?
Den lilla barnematbibeln, and in English that is
Uh-huh.
like the little baby food Bible.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
Okay.
that was written for parents to feel more really supported and
Mm-hmm.
get that basic knowledge to kind of make better decisions for themselves
Right.
and yeah,
Right.
with a lot of recipes as well. So that
Yeah,
was my
of course.
start, really,
Mm-hmm.
when I felt like this is something that is more important than kind of my lack of, skills for writing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started. So
Yeah.
I think I have always kind of been an entrepreneurial soul since I was
Mm-hmm.
a young um, kid, but never really knew what I wanted to do. Um,
Mm.
and when I got my first child, I found my passion. So it started there, and this book sold
Mm-hmm.
really bad. I mean,
Oh,
it
really?
didn't sell much at all. So because I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't any, famous or anything, and I wasn't really skilled on marketing back then. So
Mm.
I felt like, okay, this is not what I was hoping to reach out with.
Mm-hmm.
So I during that time I also educated myself within nutrition and started to have courses for parents on how to cook your own
Okay.
baby food. So I had online
Mm-hmm.
courses and live courses, and one of the questions that came back over and over again was, okay, now we have learned how to cook. What can you recommend from the store? The days
Mm.
where we don't have time, we don't have,
Yeah.
energy. So then I did kind of a deep dive into the industry. I had no experience within food industry at all. And I was quite new in Norway, so I didn't really have any
Mm-hmm.
network. But I felt
Yeah.
like, okay, it's not really something I can recommend from the stores because
Mm.
traditionally food for kids has always been in the ambient shelf where
Mm.
it has a long shelf life. So you kind
Yeah.
of go, grocery shopping and you buy some dog food and then you buy some washing powder and then you take the baby food. Uh,
Yeah.
and the thing is that category has always been driven by huge companies where the focus
Mm.
is a safe product and a cheap product. And then you
Mm.
use cheap ingredients and you cook it to death pretty much because it can't go bad because it's so heavily,
Mm.
heat treated. And then it's
Yeah.
safe. But the fact is
Right.
you lose a lot of goodness there. You lose,
Mm. Of
nutrition, you
course.
lose taste, colors, texture, everything that we kind of appreciate about food. When
Mm.
we as adults enjoy food, it's the smell, it's the colors,
Yeah.
it's the taste, it's the texture, it's all of that. And
Right.
in traditional baby food, you don't have anything of it. So I was
Yes.
like, how hard can it be to kind
Yeah.
of make a ready, really good, homemade
Mm-hmm.
version of
Yeah.
food for kids? So that was kind of
Yeah.
my start on
Okay.
that venture.
But just to back it up, like when you came from when you moved from Sweden to Norway, how was your experience? Like, did you find major differences, or was it same, like easy to adjust?
So, I mean, Norwegian people has always loved Swedes. So,
Okay.
so because they think we are so charming, and the funny thing about this is that it's kind of the same back. So Swedish
Mhm.
people always find Norwegian very charming. So I mean, I have always felt welcome, if you know what I mean. But it's
Mhm.
definitely some differences that you don't really perhaps think about before you move,
Mhm. Mhm.
and especially in the industry, but also behavioral. Like my experience with GrowGrow is like in Norway, people are not very spoiled with a lot of products in stores
Mhm.
because Norway is not part of the EU. You
Mhm.
have customs for everything that goes into the
Oh,
country, which means
right.
that you don't have much going in there. So Norwegian people are not very spoiled with a lot to choose from.
Mhm.
So, and I also feel like Norwegians are more supportive when it comes to people doing something good. Um, like jantelagen, or the where in Sweden it's more that law where you kind of pushing down people when they are trying to do
Mhm.
something good. I mean, that's kind
Yeah.
of strong in Sweden, and I had forgot about it, to be honest. But
Okay.
now, when I have lived in Norway such a long time, I can totally see the differences. Like in Norway, everyone just cheers you up, and when they find something
Mm.
that they like, then it's like they talk about it for like, yeah, with everyone they know and recommends it, and it's kind of hype to be, the first adopter. Like, oh, haven't you heard about this? Like, well, this is super good, and things like that. And in Sweden, my experience is more like Swedes are a bit more like, FOMO. They are sitting there
Yeah.
waiting, and
Mm.
something new there, but okay, now I saw it again. Well, now I saw it the third
Mm.
time, and this time my neighbor had it. Well, perhaps I should try it. Oh, my best friend, she's got it as well. Well, then I have to have it. Like a bit slow.
Yeah,
Um,
slow, exactly. And
yeah,
they would never tell if something is working for them. They're not going to be proactive and share it. They'll wait for it to come out on its own.
yeah, yeah. And it's a bit surprising because I'm from Sweden and I didn't see
Hmm.
myself like that. But I mean,
Yeah.
now when I see it more clearly, I definitely see that, yeah, I guess I'm like that as well, in a way. So,
Hmm.
yeah, some differences. But then Sweden, of course, you have so much to choose from. Like going into
Hmm.
the food stores, you're not even able to kind of see it all because it's so
Hmm.
much, and it comes
Yeah.
new things all along as well. So I think it's more like you need some patience to get
Yeah, of
established in
course.
Sweden. And
Oh
to be
yeah,
honest,
yeah.
I have spoken to several companies with
Hmm.
European experience saying that Sweden is the most difficult country to launch something like a product in, um, which is
Yeah.
fascinating in itself.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's pretty interesting. I mean, I myself, I've been like on and off entrepreneur kind of last 3 to 4 years, and it's so hard to get the right kind of audience with the limited mark. Even if I'm from marketing background, it's still very difficult to get customers. In that like what is your expectation? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough market.
Yeah, and it's a small market as well. I mean, there's so
Yes.
many. I mean, it has been a tough time the last years,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and also last year when kind of investment was harder to get, and a lot of
Mm.
good and great companies didn't make it.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking like it's so sad because if we were in US where you have
Mm.
just millions of people, then we would do great. But it's hard
Yeah.
when we're living in such a small markets. Like you really
Yeah.
need to do your research. You really
Yeah.
need to kind of have a product fit, market fit,
Mm.
and it's so important, more important than anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit too bad when there's so many great
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, great ideas, great products, and then you just have a
Yes.
market that is too small to survive,
Yeah.
really.
Exactly. Exactly. I freelanced with couple of brands, and they were like uh, manufacturing this cosmetic brand, cosmetic products, and the products were really good, luxurious, and everything. And they tried so much to establish in Sweden. They were also Swedish, by the way,
Okay,
husband and
yeah,
wife, but they just couldn't get the right amount of sales. The market was not that like responsive, and but when they launched in US,
yeah,
they got such a great response that they finally had to move to US because the business did much better there. So
yeah,
sad reality.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you have this initial phase of your business? You told me a little bit about it, but then how did you get the motivation and how did you grow it like step by step? And today it's doing so well. So like tell me about that.
Yeah, so I kind of early understood that this is too important not to do, but I had no
Mm-hmm.
clue where to start. So for me, it took a while to kind of figure things out. I was just
Mm-hmm.
convinced that even if I didn't know how to do it or I didn't have the network and the knowledge. I mean, I knew that someone else did, so I just had to find
Mm.
those people. And for me, I mean, it was quite clear from the beginning that here I need to sell, something
Mm.
huge to get
Mm.
the people I need to, invest in me and also kind of join the venture. But also to very early get my customers with me. So
Mm.
because we are, I mean, with our fresh products, we are putting in fridges into the baby food aisle, and no retailer would do that without a huge demand because it's
Yeah.
complicated. It takes a lot of space. You need electricians, like it's just too complicated. So from early on, I shared my dream, I shared my journey, I shared my kind of ups and downs. I included like parents
Mm.
early on to kind of make decisions. I kind of had them as my teammates to start with,
Mhm.
and very early on, I did a crowdfunding where people could
Okay.
buy products. So not invest
Mhm.
as a typical crowdfunding, but to pre-order and pay.
Okay.
When I launched that, we sold 5,000 products in 3 weeks. So then
Wow.
I was like, okay, this is something that people
Amazing.
want and they are willing
Yeah.
to pay for it. And the
Yeah.
funny thing about this was that this was just an idea for me that back then, and it
Mhm.
took 2 years
Mhm.
to launch. So people
Yeah.
bought products and had to wait 2 years to get them. so,
Oh my
so
God.
a lot of these parents, they had child number two, when they
Oh
got
my
the
God.
product. So they were like, perfect timing. So I kind of tested the market. Is this something that people want? I knew that I had to build demand from the beginning. So I kind of welcomed them in to share the journey. Then I got into the first Antler program. Are you familiar with
Mhm.
Antler, the startup?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, the
I
startup.
have
Yeah.
heard about
So
this.
yeah, so they had their first cohort in Singapore, and their second were in Stockholm, and then I got
Okay.
into that startup accelerator, or how you would say, and
Okay.
that was really my business education those 8 weeks.
Okay.
Because I had no clue about building business. Or I mean,
Mhm.
I remember sitting there Googling, like B2B, B2C, what does that mean, and at that
Yeah.
point, I did not speak English. I had a phobia of
Okay.
speaking English. So
Oh.
I was like, I can talk in front of thousands of people if I can, speak Swedish, but I would not
Mhm.
talk to one speaking English. So, and Antler is all in English, So I just had to, I
Mhm.
remember, like sitting there between Christmas and New Year, driving around in my car, just speaking, like talking, for myself, just to practice because I was so
Okay.
nervous. But I just
Okay.
had to jump into it, and I knew that I need this to kind of move forward. And Antler was the
Mm.
first investor we got, and they introduced us to Orkla, which is
Okay.
a huge FMCG company
Mhm.
in Scandinavia, North
Okay.
Europe, but they are biggest in Norway, and they invested in GrowGrow again and helped
Wow.
us to kind of helped us with investments to be able to launch. Because
Wow.
the thing is with food for kids, you can't just stand in your kitchen cooking and sell that product. Like
Yeah.
you can do that for adults, but for baby food, you have your own. Like there's another regulation. It's quite strict.
Mm.
So you need to go with professional producers with minimum order quantities.
Mm.
So I had to have investments from day one. And
Yeah.
because the way I wanted to do it, no one else did in Europe. So I had to, I was like looking in 8 different countries to be able to find a producer that was willing to do things a bit differently, because baby food is produced with fruit purees, like cooked down
Mm.
fruit purees,
Yeah.
and concentrates. That is kind of the common ingredients for those pouches. and
Yeah.
and I wanted to use organic bites, like real fruit,
Yeah.
without this, treatments. And then I had heard about something called cold press technology, or
Mm-hmm.
HPP. High pressure processing is kind of the technical term, and that is a technology that has been used for 30 years within clean label products.
Okay.
Typically like soups, dressings, guacamole,
Mm-hmm.
hummus, and stuff like that. And I heard that there
Right.
was a company in the US that used this on baby food. And the good thing
Okay.
about this is that you use it's a pressure technology with cold water
Mm-hmm.
outside the product, which is
Okay.
so powerful, like it's so heavy. So if there's a bacteria in the food, it gets get crushed, kind of. But the
Okay.
good thing is that you don't affect nutrition status, you don't affect color, texture, taste. So you can't really tell the difference before and after.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that high quality product, but you get a longer shelf life. So then we get a bit more than 2 months in the fridge. Instead of,
Okay.
if you would cook your own food, you have like 2 days in the
Mm.
fridge. I
Yeah.
mean, you can probably get 2 weeks perhaps with a good pack
Mm-hmm.
method. But with this technology, we get a fresh product with a safe, fresh product that tastes good for
Yeah.
a bit more than 2 months. So I was like, this is what I want. But no
Yeah.
one did it at that point in Europe. So it
Okay.
took quite a bit. But again, I mean, that was the hardest part. I mean, to kind of launch the product and get into
Mm.
retails, the first years is always toughest.
Oh
But
yeah.
for me, it was always like, the venture is more important than me. And if I'm the tool to get it up going, then I just can't stop. Then I just have to deal
Mm.
with whatever issues I have. Like,
Yeah.
it's me is not important. So I just have to
Yeah.
get over it, and kind of move on. So, but I mean, today we're a team of five, and a great team, and today it's kind of more to like, yeah, running a startup growth business, I would say. Yeah.
Wow.
So now we
Wow.
have
So
been on
amazing.
the market for, yeah, a bit more than 3 years.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
But I
what
have
about
tasted the
marketing?
product. It is really good.
Yeah, it's tasty,
Yeah.
and we actually have
Yeah.
taste guarantee. So
Okay.
if parents buy the product and, well, the family doesn't like it, then we give them the money back. And
Oh wow.
I don't think, like, you have never heard the word baby food and taste guarantee in the same sentence before.
Yeah. This is the first time
So
I'm
that's
hearing it. So
yeah, so that's kind of unique. But that's how
yeah.
important taste is for us. So we always
Yes.
have a lot of kids and parents to try the products, throughout product development. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's also all about taste and nutrition.
Yeah. So
So
what is your best seller? Like the best maybe top three.
yeah, so our we have two porridge, like
Mm-hmm.
fresh. It kind of tastes like overnight oat, where we have
Okay.
an oat base, and one with
Mm-hmm.
apple and raspberries and some cinnamon and coconut milk.
Okay.
That one is
Mm-hmm.
our top seller. I mean, Scandinavia
Okay.
is all about its porridge,
Oh yes.
and yeah, and the second is also like the porridge with pear and blueberry and some banana and
Mm-hmm.
coconut milk as well.
Right.
And I
Right.
mean, as you can see, it's not ingredients that are, uncommon or anything. So, and
Mm-hmm.
we really share for parents to cook when they can. So those two recipes, for example, you can find on our website. How, like, you can do
Okay.
it yourself at home if you want to. So
Yeah.
especially now, in a bit more challenging economic times, we have got
Mm.
parents, so grateful that we share the recipe because their child just love, the apple
Yeah.
cinnamon porridge, for example, so they can cook it, every
Right.
day and buy it when they have, the money. But the option is there,
Of
and that's
course.
kind of what's important.
Yeah, exactly. It's like going back to the olden times, and I'm a very big believer on cooking at home and having
Yeah,
fresh food at home instead of just buying it.
definitely. Yeah. I
Yes.
mean, I think we can all agree that the best for us when we can cook. And
Yes.
it's so much more than
Yeah.
just, eating. It's also
Mm.
the kind of every step along the way, and the children
Yeah.
see us doing all that.
Yes.
So it kind of gives them more than just
Yeah.
nutritious food.
Exactly,
So yeah.
exactly. And I think that is, I think food is one of the like very good fond memory what you carried from your childhood till you, like, till you die. I think
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
aromas and the flavors and your mother or father cooking in the kitchen, and that smell, that fragrance just sticks in your brain, and that you remember it later in life.
Yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, food is such
Yeah.
a big part of our lives.
Yes. Definitely.
So it's kind of important. And I mean, if you think about it, you start your taste journey with the first
Mm.
solid, and
Yeah.
and that should be exciting.
Mm. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So
So what is happening now with Grow? I have seen you. I see your Instagram profile, and I'm like, oh my god, you're like one day here, one day there, and you're like traveling and doing so many exhibitions and participating in, like, even in the shops. I've seen you putting up the products, and such a busy lifestyle. Like, how do you manage it, and how do you, like, I know you are a very good planner, but then how do you balance it all?
so I mean, I guess that is the biggest challenge to balance. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
working balance lifestyle with families, and but I
Mm.
have many times thought that my kids kind of take me back to what's most important. Like,
Mm.
they when I could probably work, days and nights, but because I have children, I
Mm.
can't, and I think that's a good thing. I
Yeah.
now I need to pick up my kids, and I need to spend time
Mm.
with them, and I love it, of course, but it's also like, uh, they force me to have a better balance in life. And I guess
Mm.
my job then is to practice being present when I'm
Mm.
with them, and with family and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
I try to prioritize my own time as well, and some
Mm-hmm.
workouts and stuff. And I guess, I mean, in periods that is harder, but I am very aware of the balance, and that is a goal in itself, to be honest, for me,
Mm.
because I mean, when you're out in the business environment, and as a when you listen to business leaders, there's so many business leaders that talks about their, like, men talks about their
Mm.
ex-wives, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that is nothing I can, look up to. Like, for me, that is
Mm.
not to succeed. If you
Mm.
are crashing your marriage because of job, then you have
Yeah.
failed. That's my
Yeah.
opinions. Like, for me, it's like I look up to people that are able to balance that up. Like,
Yeah.
they give, for, like, it's family, their own time, and business, and that is a goal in itself, to work that balance, because you would never be happy if you only
Yeah.
succeed in job,
Yeah.
and that yeah. So for me, I love work, but I also love my family, and I love
Yeah.
everything in life. You want time for it all, and to balance that up, it's kind of to be your best version of
Yeah.
yourself, and then
Yeah.
you would also, um, yeah, do better on whatever you
Yeah.
do. So it's all about kind of, what do I need to
Mm.
to feel good and be able to do the best wherever I am. And I guess
Yeah.
that is up to every one of us. But I do think
Mm.
that the balance there needs to be in place to
Yeah.
be happy.
Definitely.
And when you're
Mm.
happy, you're doing a better job. So,
Yeah.
but it's
Definitely.
not
Definitely. I
easy.
totally
It's
agree.
not easy,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
but
hard,
it's
but then
important.
it's so important, and I feel, as we are going like increasing in number of age, we are growing, we realize what is really important, and it's just not chasing numbers. And as you said, if you're standing on the stage alone and there is nobody in the crowd clapping, for you from your family, then doesn't mean anything, right? I mean,
No.
you need your own family or own crowd or own people be there for you. At the end of the day,
Mm.
I think when we look back, we want to see these people with you, around you, and not just standing alone. So that is so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, and I think that is
Yeah.
something that we should talk more about when it comes to
Mm.
entrepreneurship and so on,
Yeah.
because I read this article where they had
Hmm.
interviewed like 10 entrepreneurs on their kind of success story, but also like
Hmm.
learnings and challenges. And I think one
Hmm.
third of them had the common factor that they had burned out along the way.
Mm. Oh
And
yeah.
that is so sad, because when you burn out, like if you're out and just laying in bed for a few months, well, then the business will never continue either. I mean,
Yeah.
in the beginning
Yeah.
especially, like if I go down, when the business go down, and it's not
Mm.
worth it. So we just
Yeah.
have to, I call it like to be a responsible, like be responsible, selfish. Like you need to take care of yourself so much that you actually can continue in the
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah, I think it
in
it
the speed that you're
transpires,
able to.
yeah, I think that is also, I mean, that is so good that we are talking about all, this conversation, that even I have realized that I have also been a hustler and an entrepreneur, but it does not serve me. I don't be much more productive if I'm not taking care of myself. And when
Mm,
I'm taking care of myself, in turn I take care of people around me, and that just transpires, it spreads, and I think it goes out in the universe, and then you start getting better and you start getting results as well. That's what I have realized as well.
exactly. No, I think just
Yeah.
to stop and attract, like focus on what you want to attract, and that's
Hmm.
something I could be better at, to be honest. That's something I'm aware of, but I'm working on it
Hmm.
to kind of, you know, meditate and kind of just focus on what do I want to attract, and
Hmm.
rather, because when you know what to focus on and you are like aware of what you attract, then it will come to you
Hmm.
without
Yes,
efforts. And by doing
definitely.
what you're doing and working with that attraction, that gives better results without
Yes.
that much hustling. So it's all about working smart, and
Yes.
as you're saying, with good relationships and kind of network, and yeah. No,
Yeah.
and that's what's
Yeah.
exciting as well with being an entrepreneur,
Yes.
meeting all
Yeah,
like
definitely. You meet
inspiration.
so
Yeah.
many amazing people, and also it works both ways. You also learn like what to do and what not to do. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's good.
Definitely. Yeah, and I feel like
Yeah.
the really inspiring entrepreneurs, they share as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they share
Yes.
their up and downs, and they are very humble and honest
Mm.
and kind of
Yeah.
open, and those are the
Yeah.
best.
Yes. Definitely. I
Mm.
agree. Yeah. So what next plans and what is in store for Grow in the coming upcoming year?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, marketing has been super important, but in a more creative way and traditional marketing.
Mm.
So as I mentioned, that we're working close with customers. That's something we have continued with. So last year we went from 80 stores to 600, 1,600 stores. And the
Wow,
reason
that's
for that,
amazing number.
yeah, the reason for that is both because we have customers that is out there wanting our products in the store. So they have been working as a sales force for us by asking
Mm.
in store all the time. But we also launched some easier products. So we have our fresh cold pressed kind of category that is a bit more complicated because you need a chilled distribution and chilled
Mm.
warehouse and also fridge in store. Some stores has put those products in the dairy section, but last year we also launched our first dry product, which is a raw bar, and
Yeah,
and
I
of course
tasted the
that
raw bar. Yes.
distribution. yeah, and that distribution is of course easier. So that is also the reason why we got so many new listings and stores.
Hmm.
And this year we are also launching into another new category. So
Okay.
we will launch powder porridge
Hmm.
this fall. And I mean, for everyone outside Scandinavia, they don't might get that, but in Scandinavia, it's all about this porridge, and often the first solid you give is this powder porridge. But we
Hmm.
are creating a home version, like homemade version. So it's not ultra processed like everything else.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a clean, really tasty with natural sweetness from freeze dried ingredients as well. So a really nice product. So I mean, we're working
Wow,
with product
exciting.
development all the time, yeah,
Hmm.
and of course new distribution channels. So the coming year we will go deeper and like spread more into Norway because we have
Hmm.
started to build a strong brand here. So now it's kind of time to get the most out of that and
Yeah.
continue working in Sweden. We went to Sweden a bit too early because I'm from Sweden, but now we have starting to build a brand there as well. So we're not giving up on Sweden.
Yes.
Swedish kids
Yes.
also need better food,
Yes,
but
of course.
we will look into um, the rest of Scandinavia as well, and
Hmm.
plan for some expansion there within, yeah,
Yeah.
not perhaps the next year, but very soon after. So we're still
Wow.
in a bit
Yeah.
of a research planning phase there.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I mean, the goal is Europe. We have got some requests from Asia as well. We'll see
Wow.
what we will end up, but there's a lot to do. So
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
we'll
Yes,
see.
everybody's getting so health conscious now, so it's really, necessary thing nowadays. And if
Mm.
for busy people, if they can just grab something and not, like save at least the mornings. I think typically are so busy for everyone. So if we can have
Mm.
something quick fix, then that will be like really great. So I think we're
Yeah.
definitely on the right track.
Yeah, yeah, we'll hope so.
Yeah.
No, so I mean,
Yes.
now finally we're earning money, which is really nice. I mean, that's a relief, I would say, because constantly, taking in investments, it's kind of a heavy
Hmm.
work.
Right.
So that is great. We have had approximately a 300% growth every year
Wow.
since these three first year, and next year we will probably land on, yeah, a bit over 100%, I guess. I mean,
Wow.
we will
Congratulations. That's
double, yeah.
amazing.
So yeah, but I mean, the bigger you get, the harder it is to triple.
Oh, yes,
But
definitely, definitely.
yeah, no, but we have huge goals, and I mean, there's
Mm,
a lot to do because
yeah,
it's just a super conservative category that needs to be
mm,
innovated. I mean,
yeah,
everything else is super. I mean, it has happened so much, the last 50 years within every other category. Now you can even buy, fresh and frozen dog food, but for your child, it's
oh,
ambient. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So it's
yeah,
definitely about time. And I think that more and more parents, as you're saying, is more aware as well. And
mm,
no, we welcome other players into this category that can that
yeah,
is also, interested in quality and taste and to kind of help
mm,
us change the industry. So
yeah,
hope to inspire
yeah.
one or two
Yes,
out
of
there.
course. Yes, of course. I mean, if you're doing something right, then, why not? Just spread the word.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing.
Hmm.
Congratulations. And I am so looking forward to all the amazing things which are going to happen. Thank you so much. And congratulations. And I'm so excited to, look all the amazing things and look forward to the great things which are going to happen for Grow in the upcoming years to come. So I'm also
Thank you
pretty
so
excited because
much.
I am so much into health and nutrition. And I think everybody is realizing that health is wealth, these days, and it's so important. In the middle years, I think people were just hustling so much and they forgot about taking care of their health, and they were just running about behind numbers and money and all the
Mm.
other stuff. But I think now people are realizing that if you don't have a healthy lifestyle, of you're not healthy, then you
No.
cannot even
No, I
work,
mean,
for that matter.
nothing
So
is nothing is more important than your health. If you don't have your
yes,
health, then you have nothing, because everything will
yes,
be about your health if you're unhealthy or sick or so
yeah,
on. So, I mean, everyone should, I guess, be interested in their own health at least to
yes.
kind of, yeah, live a happy life.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. So thank you so much, Malin, for coming today on the Mindspark podcast and sharing your learnings, your thoughts, and it was so great having this amazing conversation with you. So thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you.